Hey Brightsiders, I've prepared a new portion of mind-boggling riddles. And what does it mean? It's time to put on your detective hat. Let's go!
Yeah!
Jake loved making bets with his friends. This time, he bet that he could put a bottle of water in the middle of his living room and crawl into it. His friends were sure they would win. But somehow, Jake won the bet again. Can you understand how he did it? Well, Jake said he would put a bottle of water in the middle of the room and crawl into it. But he didn't specify if he would crawl into the bottle or into the room. So he simply crawled into the room and won the bet. Now try to crack this riddle. It's nothing but holes tied to other holes. At the same time, this thing is as strong as steel, but not as stiff as a pole. What is it? It's a chain. Dylan was trapped in a basement. The only thing he found inside was a note and a pen. Find the way to get 200 out of 188 with one line, and you'll be free. 5 minutes later, the door opened automatically, and Dylan was free. What did he do? He drew a horizontal line to divide 188. This way, he got 2 ones and 4 zeros. Look at these 4 people in a grocery store. Can you figure out who is going to steal a watermelon? It's the man with the soccer ball. It seems as if he's holding something heavy. It must be the watermelon disguised as a soccer ball. Robert was a collector of unusual coins. One day, the man called the police and reported one of his rarest coins missing. He was sure the culprit was one of his brothers, Frederick or Matthew, who lived together with him. One of them collected ancient books, and the other was crazy about rare stamps. All the collections were kept in the same large room in the house. The key to the room was kept in a vase standing on the fireplace. The only other person besides the brothers who visited the house was Robert's friend Mark. When the police arrived, they found out the room had been opened with the key. The officers also didn't find any fingerprints. Do you know who stole the coin?
Uh-oh.
It was Mark. He was the only person who had a reason for getting rid of the fingerprints. The brothers' fingerprints would be absolutely natural since they live there. Now you have to think outside the box to crack this one.
Yeah!
1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters, the word 3 has 5, and the word 5 consists of 4 letters, but the word 4 has only 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4, and the game will end there. Look at this picture. Can you figure out which mermaid is his wife? Have you spotted a tattoo on the man's neck? It's the letter L. See? And now the mermaid on the right also has a tattoo. It's the letter J. They most likely depicted the first letters of each other's names, so they must be husband and wife. The next picture for you. Which girls are sisters? These two mermaids are sisters. Have you noticed that they have identical moles on their faces? Wow, a race on seahorses? That's something new. But can you figure out which mer person is cheating? One of the guys has a robotic seahorse. See that USB port on its neck? And now look at these young people playing beach volleyball. Can you figure out who's not human? It's this girl. If you compare her with her friends, she's the only one who's not sweating and isn't red-faced because of the heat and exertion. Kimberly inherited an old house from her rich aunt. When the young woman was exploring the cellar, she came across a massive wooden door. She opened it and saw a small room with 3 bags and a note. One of the bags has $1 million and the others are empty. You can only open one bag, so think carefully. Kimberly also noticed that there was a message on each bag. The first bag claimed, "The cash is not here." The message on the second bag was, "The cash is not here." And the third bag said, "The cash is in the second bag." If only one message is true, which bag has the money? The money can't be in the second or third bags. If it was so, then 2 messages would be true. It means the money is in the first bag. This next riddle will challenge your math skills. Add this number to the same one and multiply the result by 4. Then divide it by 8. And you'll have the very first number again. What number is it? It can be any number. You can try it out to make sure. Jason took part in a game show and ended up as one of the 2 contestants to make it to the finals. He came up to the table with 3 cups on it, but only one of these drinks was safe to try. The other 2 were poisoned. And even though a mistake wouldn't cost Jason his life, the consequences would be unpleasant. The drinks were tea with sugar, cappuccino, and hot chocolate. Which one should Jason choose? If it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have melted completely, but it didn't happen. The cappuccino looks suspiciously green. It's probably unsafe to drink. Jason opted for the hot chocolate and won the challenge. A man was in an 8-story building when a fire started. He jumped out of the window but didn't even bruise himself. How is it possible? The man jumped out of the first-floor window. I was driving along the highway when one of my car tires burst. I stopped to change it, but when I came back to the car, I saw it had a flat battery. I looked around and realized I was in the middle of a small town. I decided to wait for someone who could help me. Suddenly, I heard glass shatter. The night was very dark, so I switched on the headlights and saw a man with a large bag climbing out of a house. I immediately ran to the nearest police station to report the crime. That's what Mr. Darrison told the police. The detective who was listening to him asked, "And where did you hide everything you'd stolen from that house?" How did he come to this conclusion? If Mr. Darrison's car battery was flat, how could he switch on the headlights? Can you figure out which passengers on this bus are zombies? There are 2 zombies on the bus. This man with a bandage on his neck and one ear missing. And this business lady sitting near the window. She's making bizarre growling noises. How about some rebus puzzles? Here we go.
Yeah.
What does it mean? That's how you greet people. Good afternoon. Okay, now try this one. It's progress underway. And how about this one? Ah, this one was easy. It's accelerate. It was winter when an elderly couple finished building a pretty new house. The husband was responsible for the construction, while his wife was a self-appointed decorator. The house looked beautiful. Very proud, they invited their grandchildren to have a look at their work. But within an hour, the kids managed to break several windows. They also knocked down the fence, removed the decorations, and ruined the roof. But the most bizarre thing, the grandparents didn't seem to mind. Can you figure out what happened there? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to eat it. Austin throws a party at his parents' house. The next morning, he finds out that someone had robbed him. The thief took all the money and jewelry from the safe locker. Austin video calls 4 of his best friends and says, "Someone robbed my house yesterday. Do you have any suspects?" Mary says, "I'm sorry, but I can't believe it was one of the guests." Julie says, "I spent all evening downstairs. I didn't even come close to your parents' safe. So I didn't notice anything suspicious." Bob says, "No way! Every single guest at the party is pretty wealthy. Maybe it's the pizza guy." And Rick replies, "But Mary showed up with a stranger looking like a criminal. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that he's the thief." Can you guess who's the robber? Julie. Austin didn't mention the safe. How did she know? This pen is only half filled with ink. How many words can it write? Pens cannot write even a single word. It's the person holding the pen who can write the words. One of these customers is not from Earth. Can you spot who? This guy is eating toothpicks. What about this company? Who's not from Earth? This person, who uses a laptop as a mug holder. Bobby, Stella, and Chris are having a roller skating contest in the park, but one of them is cheating. Can you guess who? Chris, take a closer look at his feet. His roller skates are not so simple. Wendy is selling flowers. One sunflower costs $24. The price of one narcissus is $9. Can you calculate the price of one calla lily? The price for one calla lily would be $1.50. Each flower costs $1.50 per petal, and a calla lily only has one petal. George and Nancy are having dinner in a fancy restaurant. Can you spot 3 weird things here? The violinist is using an arrow. There's a toad in these flowers. and this waiter serves a bitten apple. Emma, Ted, and Peter are having a speed swimming competition. Can you spot who's cheating? It's Ted. Take a look at his neck. He has a small chip. Therefore, he must be a robot, and he can't compete with humans. Andy and his wife Nancy go to sleep early tonight. In the middle of the night, weird noises from the basement wake Andy up. His wife is gone. Andy looks around the house, but Nancy doesn't answer. Andy goes down to the basement. Suddenly, a creepy clown pops out of nowhere and tries to grab Andy. But Andy just laughs and says, "Stop fooling around. I know it's just a prank." How did he know? Take a look at the picture on the wall. Nancy and the clown are wearing identical sneakers. Bob visits this coffee shop every day because he's secretly in love with the local barista, Kelly. But today, he faced unpleasant news. Someone had replaced Kelly with her evil clone. How did Bob know? All Kelly's piercings and tattoos are gone, and no marks are left on the skin. Billy downloads a dating app to find his love. He finds 3 ladies and likes them equally. Elle is a travel blogger, vegan, and a huge fan of rom-coms. Ashley is a school teacher. She loves hiking and writes her own novels. Bella is a scientist. She's very busy at work. That's why she never has had a serious relationship. She's fond of ice cream and sunrises. Unfortunately, only one of these 3 profiles isn't fake. Can you help Billy ask the right lady out? There's a wedding picture on Bella's desk. Therefore, she's a liar. Elle says that she's a vegan, but she's eating a hot dog in this picture and a steak in this picture. So she's a liar too. So Billy should invite Ashley. Shelley runs an online shop. Although all her employees live in the same city, they only meet online. This morning, their Zoom call was interrupted by a stranger. Can you spot the imposter? It's this lady. All employees live in the same city, which means in the same time zone. But take a look out her window. It's a deep night. Dan is hiking in the woods during the last weekend of March every year, but this time he gets lost. Dan wanders around and finds this sign. He should choose one of the 3 routes to get out of the forest. The first route leads through a village of mutants. They hate people and no one has ever managed to escape from them. The second route is across a very old suspension bridge located under a river full of toads and worms. The third route leads through the habitat of a large family of bears. Which way is more or less safe? It's spring now, so the bears are awake and probably very hungry. Also, it will be difficult for Dan to deal with the mutants all alone, so Dan should take the second route. Even if he falls into the river, nothing bad will happen. Toads and worms don't bite. Rosie is baking a delicious chocolate cake in the kitchen. It's a gift for her boyfriend. When it's ready, she puts the cake in the fridge and goes upstairs to take a shower. In a while, Rosie returns to find out that someone had cut the cake and eaten a few pieces. Rosie questions 3 of her roommates. Samantha says, "How dare you? I'm on a sugar-free diet." Pam says, "I haven't been in the kitchen today. I'm too busy with my studies." And Harry says, "I opened the fridge 2 minutes ago and the cake was full." Who ate the missing pieces? Nobody. The roommates pranked Rosie. The spoiled chocolate cake isn't Rosie's cake. Take a closer look. It has a different decoration. And her cake is still in the fridge, in this box on another shelf. Tom is having a job interview. The HR manager likes his resume and asks him one final question to check his logical thinking. These toothpicks indicate a group of fishes moving from west to east. Can you make them move in the opposite direction by moving just 3 toothpicks? Here's the solution. Victor is riding a bicycle in the park. Suddenly, someone throws a spray can of blue paint at his head. Victor loses balance and falls. He finds 3 suspects and interrogates them. Alex says, "I was just sitting on the bench and reading a book." Barbie says, "I was skating and didn't see any paint cans." And Ashley says, "I was painting graffiti, but soon I noticed that someone had stolen my blue paint." Who threw the paint at Victor? Ashley has paint on her hands, and that's okay because she's making street art. Alex has stains on his t-shirt, but it's just a design. And why would Barbie have blue stains on her hands if she didn't see any paint? Anna is waiting for her boyfriend Stan in a restaurant. He shows up with a box of donuts and goes straight to Anna. Suddenly, he slips on the wet floor. What is Stan trying to say? The donuts say, "Marry me?" Stan is proposing to Anna. Fred sits down at a barbershop. The hairdresser says, "You must be a visitor here. I love to cut strangers. It's better to serve 2 strangers than 1 local." Fred asks why. Can you guess the hairdresser's reply? Serving 2 is always more profitable than 1. I have hundreds of legs, but I can only lean. Make me feel dirty so you feel clean. What am I? I'm a broom. The CIA arrives at Chris's house this morning. They suspect that he's a criminal. He sells stolen art to other criminals via Instagram, but Chris denies everything. Having searched the apartment, the agents find his phone. There are 3 suspicious people among his followers. Can you spot the criminal? It's this guy. His nickname literally says "Top Secret."